The audience overview is really where I like to start my day when I jump into Google Analytics. The overview is the 10,000-foot view of what's going on with various elements of the site as it relates to the time period that you've selected. At the top, we have our data over time, in this case defaulted to sessions, but of course, we could change this to any other metric that we'd like simply by selecting from the dropdown here at the top. As we scroll down, we can see some mini reports that give us some at-a-glance information. So for the month of January, I can see my total sessions, my total users, total page views, and so on. If you'd like, you can select the chart image and it's going to change the data at the top of the screen to drill in to that specific metric. You can see here I selected page views, and now page views is the metric that's selected. On its own, this view is helpful in showing us our traffic trend over time, which could help us identify any glaring errors, but this section becomes really powerful when you bring in date comparisons. So, for example, let's compare January to the previous month, December. I'll select the Compare to Previous Period option after choosing my date, and then select Apply. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is when you do this and you're in the day view, as you hover over, you're going to notice that the days do not line up. So here I have Friday, January 9th being compared to Tuesday, January 9th. This really isn't all that useful for me as I'd like to compare day to day. So I'd like to be seeing what a Tuesday of the previous month was doing to a Tuesday of this month. So you might have to adjust your date ranges to get those to line up. But in this case, I really just want to look at this monthly, which is going to aggregate everything, and that's fine for this case. I'm going to default back to sessions here in the upper left-hand corner, and when you hover over, you can see that Google will show you the percent change that occurred between December and January for sessions. As you scroll down, the at-a-glance view is now going to show you percentages. So you're seeing how things improved from month to month. I can see that our sessions went up, our users increased, our page views increased, but we also saw an average session duration, which might indicate to me that either we have less engaging content or that particular month had some seasonality concerns to pay attention to. Another thing I like to look at is our new versus returning visitor view. When a new visitor comes to the site, they're getting a first impression. They don't know you, your products, and they especially don't know how to navigate your site. So one of the most fundamental types of analysis is to begin sorting out the new versus returning visitor. You really want to segment out those two groups so you can understand how the site may be performing differently for them, with the hope of eventually optimizing it. And to do that, you need to analyze. You can hover over each of these sections here to look at the total number of new and returning visitors, or on the left-hand side in your behavior view, you can select new versus returning and begin your analysis here, which allows you to get a much deeper look at all of the columns associated with that user type. So I'll take you back to the overview. What's great about the overview is it'll work just like any other report. You can add in segments to filter the data differently as well. As you scroll down the page, you have some options on the left-hand side. In this case, we're defaulted to our language, and we can see the percentage of sessions that apply to that language. You can select country, city, and so on and so forth. You'll also notice that our date range comparison is still brought into this view as well, so we can see the percent change as it relates to our various dimensions. Take a minute to familiarize yourself with the overview page and get used to starting your journey here when you begin to crack into reporting on Google Analytics. I feel like this overview really helps set the tone and my mindset as to what I'm going to start looking for and what I'm going to drill into should I notice any anomalies.